This video is for informational and educational purposes only. All information presented is based on publicly available sources, including news reports and public records. The individuals mentioned are referenced solely in the context of reporting factual events. Any images or video clips used are stock footage and are intended for illustrative purposes only. The people shown in this video have no connection to the actual events or individuals discussed. No harm, defamation, or misrepresentation is intended. Viewer discretion is advised due to sensitive and potentially disturbing content. On a crisp December morning in Midtown Manhattan, the city that never sleeps was jolted awake by a scene of blood and panic. Brian Thompson, the esteemed CEO of UnitedHealthcare, one of America's largest healthcare providers, was fatally shot just outside the entrance of the New York Hilton Midtown. What began as a routine day swiftly descended into chaos, leaving a city stunned and a nation gripped by a chilling mystery. This is the true story of the fall of a titan, a tale of ambition, desperation, and the dark undercurrents that can drive an individual to commit unimaginable acts. Join us as we delve deep into the events that led to the tragic demise of Brian Thompson and the shocking revelation of his unlikely suspect, Luigi Mangione. The crisp December morning of 2024 in Midtown Manhattan was suddenly pierced by chaos. Brian Thompson, CEO of UnitedHealthcare, one of America's largest healthcare providers, was fatally shot just outside the entrance of the New York Hilton Midtown. The shooting occurred early in the morning as Thompson was en route to attend an investors' meeting for UnitedHealthcare Group. Witnesses described the shooter as a masked figure who fled the scene, leaving behind a city stunned and a nation gripped by the unfolding tragedy. The scene of the crime revealed chilling details. On the ground near the shell casings were 3 words written on the spent cartridges: delay, deny, and depose. These words, eerily resonating with a well-known phrase in the insurance industry, hinted at a deeper motive behind the attack. The mystery deepened as the gunman vanished into New York City's labyrinthine streets, sparking a massive nationwide manhunt. Days after the shooting, law enforcement identified 26-year-old Luigi Mangione as the prime suspect. Mangione, an engineering prodigy from Towson, Maryland, had a promising academic and professional background. He graduated as valedictorian from Gilman School in 2016 before earning both a Bachelor of Science in Engineering and a Master of Science in Engineering from the University of Pennsylvania. His graduate studies focused on artificial intelligence, and he had interned with Firaxis Games as a UI programmer. By all accounts, Mangione was poised for success, working remotely as a data engineer for TrueCar until 2023. Mangione's transition from academic star to suspect stunned those who knew him. Described as brilliant yet quiet, his early life was marked by academic achievements and a supportive family legacy. His father managed Mangione Family Enterprises, a conglomerate owning various businesses including health services and resorts. Mangione's upbringing in a well-connected family made his alleged involvement in the crime all the more surprising. The nationwide manhunt for Mangione culminated in Altoona, Pennsylvania, on December 9, 2024. A McDonald's employee recognized Mangione from the widely circulated police sketches and called authorities. Mangione, described as visibly shaken, was taken into custody without incident. A search of his belongings revealed a 3D printed firearm, a suppressor, and a fake New Jersey driver's license bearing the name Mark Rosario, which matched the alias used by the suspected gunman to check into a Manhattan hostel days before the crime. Shell casings from the crime scene reportedly matched the recovered firearm, further tying Mangione to the shooting. In his possession was a handwritten document of 262 words that many media outlets referred to as a manifesto. The document criticized the American healthcare system and alluded to systemic greed within the industry. The manifesto found with Mangione provided insight into his possible mindset. Addressed to federal authorities, it outlined his frustrations with the healthcare system, referring to it as corrupt and profit-driven. Mangione included statistics about life expectancy and healthcare costs, pointing out the disparity between the United States and other developed nations. Although the document contained no explicit admission of guilt, it framed a broader argument about systemic inequities in healthcare, which resonated with many Americans already critical of the industry.
Healthcare analyst says, Mangione's manifesto taps into a growing frustration among many Americans regarding the inefficiencies and inequalities within our healthcare system. While his actions are inexcusable, his written words reflect genuine concerns that many share.
Subscribe now to stay updated on this exciting story and help us make more deep dives and documentaries. Your support helps our channel grow and bring you more great content. News of Mangione's arrest polarized the nation. On one side, health insurance critics saw him as a tragic figure or even a folk hero. Online communities rallied under hashtags like #FreeLuigi and shared memes casting him as a modern-day Robin Hood figure. Conversely, others denounced him, pointing to the devastating loss of Brian Thompson, a father and leader of a prominent corporation. Public opinion polls reflected this divide. Young, left-leaning Americans were more likely to express sympathy for Mangione, while older and more conservative respondents condemned his alleged actions. The growing sentiment underscored deeper frustrations with the healthcare industry's practices, such as claim denials and high premiums.
Mangione's case became a cultural phenomenon because it intersects with ongoing debates about healthcare reform. His actions, though extreme, symbolize a broader discontent that many Americans feel towards the system. This division in public opinion reflects deeper societal tensions.
Mangione faced a litany of state and federal charges. New York prosecutors charged him with 11 counts, including first-degree murder in furtherance of terrorism, criminal possession of a weapon, and forgery. Federal prosecutors added 4 charges, including stalking and murder with a firearm, which carried the potential for the death penalty. In his first court appearance in Manhattan, Mangione pleaded not guilty to all charges. His defense attorney, Karen Friedman Agnifilo, argued that the intense media coverage and public statements from officials jeopardized his right to a fair trial. She further criticized New York City Mayor Eric Adams's decision to hold a highly publicized perp walk, calling it politically motivated. As the legal case unfolded, questions emerged about the evidence linking Mangione to the crime. While ballistics tests matched the firearm found on him to the crime scene, defense experts raised concerns about procedural issues in the collection of evidence. Additionally, Mangione's family and supporters pointed out inconsistencies in the timeline of events and questioned whether he had been in Manhattan at the time of the shooting. The defense also highlighted Mangione's health issues, including spondylolisthesis and Lyme disease, which required ongoing medical care. These conditions, they argued, made it unlikely for him to execute a crime of this nature.
While the ballistic evidence strongly links Mangione to the crime scene, the defense's arguments about procedural inconsistencies cannot be entirely dismissed. Each piece of evidence must be scrutinized to ensure that the investigation was thorough and unbiased.
As the trial progressed, the prosecution presented a compelling case that left little room for doubt about Mangione's involvement. However, the defense's focus on procedural issues and Mangione's health continued to resonate with certain segments of the public, keeping the discourse around the case alive and divided. Mangione's case transcended the courtroom, becoming a cultural flashpoint. Murals and graffiti depicting him as a saint appeared in cities across the United States, while his courtroom attire inspired fashion trends. Social media users debated his actions, with some highlighting the systemic flaws in healthcare that may have driven him to desperation. Meanwhile, Mangione's handwritten manifesto continued to spark discussions about the ethics of healthcare reform. Some analysts argued that while his critiques were valid, his alleged actions undermined the cause of reform. Others contended that the outpouring of support for Mangione reflected widespread disillusionment with the system.
Mangione's case became a symbol for broader societal frustrations. While his actions were extreme and inexcusable, the sentiments expressed in his manifesto resonated with many who feel unheard and marginalized by the current healthcare system.
Mangione's defense team focused on discrediting the prosecution's narrative. They argued that the manifesto was not a confession but rather a critique of systemic inequities. They also called expert witnesses to testify about Mangione's mental and physical health, portraying him as a man overwhelmed by personal and societal challenges. The defense presented a multifaceted argument, emphasizing Mangione's mental health struggles and the overwhelming pressure he faced from both personal and professional fronts. They suggested that these factors contributed to a temporary lapse in judgment rather than premeditated intent.
Mangione exhibited signs of severe stress and mental health issues. While this does not excuse criminal behavior, it provides context for understanding his actions. The defense effectively highlighted these aspects to humanize Mangione and question the certainty of his intent.
Despite these efforts, the prosecution's robust presentation of evidence made it increasingly difficult for the defense to sway the jury. The meticulous documentation of Mangione's actions and the undeniable forensic links continued to strengthen the case against him. Beyond the courtroom, the case intensified debates about the U.S. healthcare system. Protesters gathered outside the courthouse, some demanding justice for Brian Thompson, and others advocating for healthcare reform. Think pieces and editorials flooded the media, calling for systemic change. The case became a catalyst for discussions about the ethics of healthcare, the role of insurance companies, and the mental health support systems in place for those struggling within the system. It prompted a nationwide introspection on how to balance profit motives with patient care and well-being.
The Mangione case exposed the raw frustrations many feel towards the healthcare system. While his actions were extreme, they highlighted legitimate issues that require attention and reform. It's crucial to address these systemic flaws to prevent such tragedies in the future.
As the public discourse evolved, the case underscored the need for comprehensive healthcare reform, improved mental health services, and greater accountability within the industry. It served as a stark reminder of the human cost associated with systemic inefficiencies and neglect. As the trial continues, Mangione's case serves as a reminder of the complex interplay between personal struggles and systemic issues. It remains to be seen how the legal proceedings will unfold, but the case has already left an indelible mark on the national consciousness. The ongoing trial has kept the nation on edge, with every new development scrutinized by the media and the public alike. The outcome of this case could have far-reaching implications for both the legal system and the healthcare industry.
This trial is not just about one individual's actions, but also about the broader systemic issues that may have influenced him. The verdict could set precedents for how similar cases are handled in the future, especially those intertwined with systemic grievances.
As the legal battle wages on, the nation watches closely, eager for answers and hoping for justice to be served, not only for Brian Thompson, but also for the broader issues that his case has brought to light. As Mangione's trial unfolded, his family took a more vocal role, issuing public statements and conducting interviews to shed light on his character and mental state. Luigi was always a kind-hearted, thoughtful person, said one of his cousins during a press conference. He struggled with physical and mental health challenges, but he was never someone who would resort to violence. The family's efforts aimed to humanize Mangione and counteract the media's portrayal of him as a calculated individual. Despite their public statements, the family's efforts to humanize Mangione were met with mixed reactions. Supporters saw it as a necessary step to understand the man behind the headlines, while others remained skeptical, viewing it as an attempt to soften the impact of his alleged crimes.
When a family member is accused of such heinous crimes, it's natural for the family to want to protect their loved one and provide context for his actions. However, it's essential to balance empathy with accountability to ensure justice is served.
The family's public appearances and statements highlighted the personal toll of the case, not just on the victims and their loved ones, but also on Mangione's own family. It underscored the complexity of addressing crimes that intersect with deep-seated systemic frustrations and personal struggles. The case's high-profile nature drew attention globally, sparking debates about healthcare reform in other countries. Activists from Canada, the United Kingdom, and Germany began sharing stories of their own systems, contrasting them with the United States model and expressing solidarity with those frustrated by American practices. International media outlets covered the trial extensively, highlighting the broader implications of Mangione's alleged actions. In countries with more robust healthcare systems, Mangione's critiques found a receptive audience, further fueling discussions about the efficacy and ethics of profit-driven healthcare. The case served as a catalyst for international dialogues on how to balance quality care with accessibility and affordability.
Mangione's manifesto, while extreme, touched upon universal issues that many countries grapple with. The frustration with inefficiencies, high costs, and disparities in healthcare quality is not unique to the United States. This case has certainly accelerated conversations around healthcare reform on a global scale.
As international perspectives converged, Mangione's case highlighted the interconnectedness of global healthcare challenges and the universal quest for equitable and effective health services. It underscored the necessity for continuous improvement and adaptation within healthcare systems worldwide to meet the evolving needs of populations. As the trial edges closer to a verdict, the nation remains divided. Questions about systemic failures in healthcare, the ethics of activism, and the role of desperation in driving human behavior dominate public discourse. Regardless of the outcome, Mangione's case has become a symbol of both societal fractures and the need for reform, leaving a legacy that will likely shape conversations for years to come. What drove Mangione to such an extreme act? Was it solely his frustration with the healthcare system, or were there deeper personal factors at play? How can society address the underlying issues that lead individuals to such desperate measures? These lingering questions continue to fuel debates and drive calls for meaningful change within the healthcare industry.
Mangione's actions cannot be viewed in isolation. They are a manifestation of broader societal issues that need to be addressed. Mental health support, ethical healthcare practices, and community engagement are critical in preventing such tragedies in the future.
As the trial continues, the legacy of the Mangione case serves as a powerful reminder of the importance of addressing systemic frustrations and providing adequate support to those in distress. It calls for a collective effort to ensure that no one feels so unheard and overwhelmed that they are driven to such desperate actions. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the fall of a titan, the tragic story of Luigi Mangione, and the murder of Brian Thompson. Though the case has concluded, let it spark conversations about mental health healthcare reform and the importance of community support systems. May the memories of those lost live on, inspiring us to seek justice, advocate for meaningful change, and support those in need. Their stories are a call to action, to look out for one another, and to ensure that no more lives are lost to such darkness. If you or someone you know is experiencing mental health challenges or feels unsafe, reach out to a mental health professional or local support services.